Choosing the right MacBook can feel overwhelming. I totally get it. I thought the 15-inch would be perfect for me when I picked it up a few weeks ago. I honestly loved it. It was beautiful, it was fast, and it felt like the MacBook I had been waiting for a very long time. But after spending some real time with it, I took it on vacation, and I used it pretty extensively. I realized that the 15-inch for me was just a little bit too big for how I work, how I travel, and how I live with a laptop. So today we're making the switch. Right here, I've got the brand new 13-inch. This is still the MacBook Air. It's the M4. It has 1 terabyte of storage and 16 gigs of RAM. And it's still that wonderful color of sky blue. As we get to unbox it, I'm gonna break down why the MacBook Air might just be the best laptop that you can buy right now. Let's get into it. And honestly, this is where it all starts to click and make sense. Apple did not just update the MacBook Air, they made it better, made it more affordable at the same time, which almost never happens with this company. First, Apple dropped the starting price by $100 for both the 13-inch and the 15-inch models, while simultaneously increasing the base RAM from 8 to 16 gigabytes. And this year, that upgrade is just not about speed, but it's about better multitasking and longer useful life for the device. And it's almost the same story as the M4 Mac Mini, where the value jump compared to the last generation is just undeniable. Now, we'll dive deeper into the performance in the next section, but if you qualify for the student discount, and I'll quote directly from Apple's website here, current and newly accepted college students and their parents, as well as faculty, staff, and homeschool teachers of all grade levels are eligible for the Apple Education discount. That takes the entry-level MacBook Air from $999 to $899. That is completely undeniable in terms of value when you think about the MacBook Air. And it's not just about the price, because what you are getting under the hood is going to be just as impressive. Now, that's such a great sound. Let's talk about the specs and the performance that you actually get when you get the M4 MacBook Air. First, let's get this out of the way. If you already own last year's MacBook Air and you're wondering if this is a major update, spoiler alert, you do not need to upgrade. While it's one generation newer in terms of processor and that performance boost is kind of modest, it's 20%, honestly, I think that most people would not notice the update from the M3 to the M4. Now, it's not unreasonable to think that it's just a minor refresh, but I think for the right buyer, if you put these upgrades in context, it's going to be meaningful. Now, if you were coming from an older Intel Mac, or maybe even an M1 or an M2 Mac, the new specs will really make a noticeable difference in your workflow. Let's just take a look here at this. Blue color is just amazing. Is it blue? Is it not blue? It's kind of blue. It really depends on the light. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. I think this is a beautiful color. Now, the MacBook Air starts with a 10-core CPU, 8-core GPU, and 16 gigs of RAM with 256 gigs of storage, all for $899 with student pricing. The MacBook is going to be passively cooled, which means there are no fans inside like you'd find on a MacBook Pro, but in a way that this machine is basically the guts of an iPad. You know, I'm kind of speaking very broadly, with a screen that runs Mac OS. Now, for most people, I don't think that you need to upgrade the RAM or the processor past the 16 gigs unless you have two specific needs. So first, you plan to keep your computer for more than 4 or 5 years, so you really need some longevity in it. Second, if you want to future-proof your computer for less than 3 years, because there's some degree of uncertainty or change in what you'll be using your computer for. Now, storage, on the other hand, I think is a completely different story. That is the one upgrade I would really recommend for most people. Try and get as much storage as you can reasonably afford. That's because Apple has a unique advantage here in the terms of hardware and software. The MacBook Air delivers smooth, fast performance even at this entry-level configuration. Now, I don't think you're paying for specs, though I think Windows fanboys would argue with me down in the comments, but you're paying for how well everything works together. Now, all that optimization means that MacBook Air can handle just about everything that you want to throw at it. Writing, web browsing, spreadsheets, photo editing, light coding, even some occasional video editing. And I'm actually going to try and edit the video that I'm recording here, which is a 4-camera video on this device. But just to be clear, this is not a pro workstation, but for 90% of the people that are out here watching this video, the entry-level configuration is the perfect balance, power, portability, and efficiency. And speaking of perfect, if you're looking for the perfect accessories to pair with your MacBook, my next video is going to cover just that. It's going to be coming out soon, so hit subscribe so you can get that video when it comes out. Now let's talk about something that's even harder to measure, but it's just as important. It's the MacBook Air's design and build quality that are basically untouchable in this space. You're going to get a full aluminum enclosure with no creaks, no flex. It's a design that, it's not the wedge design that came out a few years ago, but this still feels clean, modern, And I think when we look back at it, you know, like in 4 or 5 years or when they refresh it, it's still going to be that people are like, they long for it, if you know what I'm talking about. They're like, oh, I remember the MacBook Air. But it's not just about looks. This MacBook Air, the keyboard feels different than the MacBook, the M4 MacBook Pro. It's still best in class. You still have a best in class trackpad, even at this price point of $899. I don't know how you argue with this because, I mean, it just feels great. It looks great. Typing is great all the way around. And despite the premium build, it's still incredibly portable. This 13-inch model that I have here, it's just 2.7 pounds. The 15-inch model, I think, was 3.2 or 3.3 pounds. And when you compare that to the 14-inch MacBook Pro, the 14-inch MacBook Pro is 3.6 pounds in the configuration that I have. So it's still, even though it's an inch bigger, it's still almost a pound more than that. This is the kind of machine that you actually want to pick up and carry around because it feels so solid, so light, and built to last. But even with all those upgrades, what really makes the MacBook Air special is just how easy it is to take it anywhere. And then once you get there, how long this device will last you. That fact that you're getting 18 hours of battery life, you have a machine that you could unplug in the morning, work all day, and not even think twice about reaching for a charger until end of day. And if you travel, commute, or just like moving between spots, there is nothing like this in its class. But here's the kicker. The MacBook Air isn't just a great laptop for today. I can see people getting this, picking it up, using it for 6-7 years. And if all that was not enough, the MacBook Air is built to help you show up at your best, look your best, and deliver your best work. First, let's talk about the display. The Liquid Retina screen is sharp, bright, and color accurate, making it perfect for everything from writing emails, editing photos. It feels immersive and polished. Now, I know some of you in the comments are saying, hey, it's not the same display on the MacBook Pro. You're totally right. The MacBook Pro has got the best-in-class display, mini LED, ProMotion, fast refresh rate. But for 99% of the people out there, this is going to be great, right? It's going to look fantastic. It's a 60 hertz panel. If I was using this, I could almost overwhelmingly say that most people are going to connect this to a panel that's going to be 60 hertz, so an external display, and they're not going to notice it at 60 hertz, right? They're not going to see that big of a difference. Now let's talk about the new FaceTime camera. You're getting a 1080p sensor here, and for this laptop being this thin and light, let me just show you this here. Can you get that? Look at that. That's incredibly thin. Give it to you guys over here too. It's incredibly thin. The video quality is seriously impressive. Whether you're hopping on a call, the client, presenting to your team, or just catching up with friends, you're gonna show up clearly and professionally. And for the first time, the MacBook Air can now connect to 2 external displays up to 6K without needing to close the lid. So this is the first time that you can actually do that. But that's a huge quality of life upgrade for anyone who likes working across multiple screens, whether you're editing, coding, or just multitasking like crazy. Now, as much as I love the M4 MacBook Air, it's clearly not the right choice for everyone. It's not a cookie cutter approach. If you're doing heavy video editing, if you're doing 3D editing, if you're doing heavy audio editing or serious app development, you're gonna run into the limits of the passively cooling on the MacBook Air very, very quickly. And you're gonna experience better performance for sustained tasks when you are connected to power versus when you're connected to battery for the MacBook Air as well. So there's definitely some trade-offs of a passively cooled device. Now, if you need top tier display with HDR, extremely precise color accuracy, you're creative, you're gonna be a lot happier with the MacBook Pro. If you need a ton of ports, you don't wanna deal with a hub, the Pro lineup is actually gonna be better for you there as well. This only has 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports here on the side, which are capable of 40 gigabits per second, and then there's a 40 gigabytes per second, not gigabits. Then you're gonna have the MagSafe 3 port here on the side as well. If you're a gamer and you're looking to do games from Apple Arcade, this will be fine. Hardcore gaming, you're gonna want a different setup. But honestly, after living with both the 15-inch and now the 13-inch, I am even more convinced the M4 MacBook Air isn't just the best laptop for most people that are out there today. It's the best value laptop we've seen from Apple in a long, long time. And I think it's on par with the M4 Mac Mini. Now, if you are serious about getting the most from your MacBook Air, stick with me and I'm gonna show you how to build a setup that's gonna make all the difference with my Apple-inspired desk setup. My name is Mike. Guys, I'm out of here.